Human soldier chose disabled alien princess as his prize, but then she revealed her truth. Great hall of the Zephyrian palace stretched endlessly before them, its crystal walls reflecting the light of 1,000 floating orbs. The war was over. After 3 long years of fighting across the galaxy, humanity had done the impossible. They had defeated the mighty Zephyrian Empire. Sergeant Marcus Chen stood with his fellow soldiers in the center of the hall. His uniform was dirty and torn from the final battle. A long scar ran down his left cheek, a reminder of the plasma blast that had nearly killed him on the moon of Zirion. But he was alive. More importantly, they had won. The defeated Zephyrian nobles sat in rows before them, their blue-scaled skin gleaming under the lights. Some looked angry, others seemed afraid. All of them had their heads bowed in the traditional pose of surrender. At the front of the group sat the royal family. Easily recognized by their silver crowns and flowing robes, General Harrison stepped forward, his boots echoing in the vast space. By the laws of war, he announced, his voice carrying across the hall, the victors may claim their prizes. Choose wisely, soldiers. These are the spoils of your victory. Marcus watched as his fellow soldiers began to move. Captain Williams chose a chest filled with glowing energy crystals. Sergeant Lopez selected an advanced weapon that hummed with power. Others picked rare metals, beautiful jewels, or pieces of alien technology that would make them rich back on Earth. The Zephyrian nobles remained silent as their possessions were taken. This was their way. The defeated must accept their fate with dignity. Marcus had learned this during his time studying their culture before the war. Know your enemy. The training had said, understand them, and you can defeat them. As Marcus stepped forward to make his choice, his eyes swept across the assembled aliens. The Emperor sat in the center, his face showing no emotion despite losing everything. Beside him sat the Empress, her elegant features carved from what looked like living marble. Their 3 sons stood nearby, all tall and proud even in defeat. But it was the figure in the corner that caught Marcus's attention. Princess Lyra, the Emperor's youngest daughter, sat apart from the others, while her family stood or sat on ornate chairs. She remained in what appeared to be a mobility device. Her crystalline limbs, typical of her species, seemed lifeless and still, unlike the others. She did not bow her head. Instead, her violet eyes stared directly at the human soldiers with an intensity that made Marcus pause. He had read about her in the intelligence reports, the princess who had been injured in an accident years ago, the one the other nobles called the broken one behind closed doors. She rarely appeared in public, spending most of her time in the palace libraries or her private chambers. Marcus found himself walking toward her. He could hear whispers from the other soldiers behind him. Why was he interested in the disabled princess? Surely there were better prizes to claim. The crown jewels sat right there on the table. Ancient weapons that could make him famous. Technology that could change the course of human development. But something about Princess Lyra drew him forward. Perhaps it was the way she refused to look defeated, even though her own family had surrendered. Maybe it was the intelligence he could see burning in her eyes. Or it could have been the way she held herself with dignity despite the whispers and stares. The other Zephyrian nobles watched with confusion as Marcus approached. Some looked disgusted, others seemed puzzled. Why would the human choose their weakest member as his prize? It made no sense according to their warrior culture. Marcus stopped in front of Princess Lyra. Up close, he could see that she was younger than he had expected. Her features were delicate, almost fragile looking. But her eyes held a strength that surprised him. They reminded him of his sister back on Earth, who had never let her own challenges stop her from becoming a brilliant engineer. I choose Princess Lyra, Marcus announced, his voice carrying across the silent hall. The reaction was immediate. Gasps echoed from the Zephyrian nobles. Some of the human soldiers laughed, thinking it was a joke. Others looked confused. General Harrison raised an eyebrow but said nothing. The choice was each soldier's to make. Princess Lyra tilted her head slightly, studying Marcus with those intense violet eyes. For a long moment, they simply looked at each other. Then, slowly, she spoke. Her voice was clear and melodious, with the musical quality that all Zephyrians possessed. "You have no idea what you have chosen, human." The words were not spoken in anger or fear. There was something else in her tone, a warning, perhaps, or maybe a challenge. Marcus could not tell which. "I am Marcus, Chen," he said, offering a slight bow. He had learned that respect was important in Zephyrian culture, even for prisoners. "I know who you are," Princess Lyra replied. "The sergeant who led the charge on the fortress of Valdris. The one who figured out how to disable our shield generators. The human who thinks differently than the others." Marcus was surprised that she knew about his actions during the war. The battle at Valdris had been a turning point, but it was not widely known outside of military circles. How did a princess locked away in the palace know such details? "You studied us," he said. It was not a question. "I study everything," she replied. "It is what I do when others think I am simply sitting here being useless." There was no bitterness. In her words, only fact. Marcus found himself more intrigued than ever. This was not the helpless prisoner he had expected to find. Emperor Zephyr rose slowly from his throne. His massive frame towered over everyone in the hall. "The choice is made," he said in his deep, rumbling voice. "My daughter will go with the human. It is the law." Princess Lyra nodded once at her father. "I understand," she said. Then she looked back at Marcus. "I hope you do as well, Sergeant Chen. You have chosen more than you know." As the ceremony continued around them, Marcus found himself wondering what the princess meant. He had expected to feel like a conqueror claiming his prize. Instead, he felt like he had just stepped into something much larger and more complex than he had imagined. The war might be over, but Marcus was beginning to suspect that his real challenge was just beginning, and it was sitting right in front of him, watching him with those knowing violet eyes that seemed to see everything. The greatest victories, his old commander used to say, often came from the most unexpected places. Looking at Princess Lyra, Marcus was starting to understand what that meant. The transport ship Horizon was nothing like the grand Zephyrian vessels Princess Lyra was used to. The metal walls were plain and gray. The corridors were narrow and filled with the sound of humming engines. Everything was built for function, not beauty. It was, she decided, very human. Marcus had been given a small cabin near the medical bay for himself and his prize. The other soldiers had laughed when they saw him helping Princess Lyra with her mobility chair. "Careful with your broken doll, Chen," one of them had said. Marcus had ignored the comment, but Lyra had seen the flash of anger in his eyes. Now, 3 days into their journey to the human colony, Marcus sat across from her in the tiny cabin. He had pushed aside his own belongings to make room for her chair, a small gesture, but one that had not gone unnoticed. "You do not have to stay here," Princess Lyra said, watching him read from a datapad. "I am sure there are other places on this ship where you would be more comfortable." Marcus looked up from his reading. "This is fine. Besides, I want to make sure you have everything you need." "I am a prisoner," she reminded him, "not a guest." "You are under my protection," Marcus replied. "There is a difference." Lyra tilted her head. Studying him, in the 3 days they had been traveling together, she had learned much about Sergeant Marcus Chen. He was patient and kind, even when she tested his limits with difficult questions. He shared his food without being asked. He had even found a way to adjust the cabin's lighting to match the spectrum that Zephyrians found most comfortable. "Why did you choose me?" she asked suddenly. "In the Great Hall, you could have taken anything, weapons, jewels, technology that would make you rich. Instead, you chose the broken princess that no one else wanted." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. He set down his data pad and looked at her directly. "You were not broken," he said finally. "You were watching, learning. I saw it in your eyes." "And what did you see?" "Intelligence, strength. The same look my sister gets when she is working on a difficult problem." Marcus smiled slightly. "She is an engineer. People sometimes think she is weak because she needs help with certain things, but she is one of the sharpest minds I have ever known." Princess Lyra felt something unexpected stir in her chest. It had been years since anyone had spoken about her with such respect. Tell me about this sister of yours. Marcus's face lit up as he talked about Sarah. How she had designed new engines for the colony ships. How she had never let her physical challenges stop her from achieving her dreams. How she had taught him that true strength came from the mind, not the body. She would like you, Marcus said. She always said that the best solutions come from thinking differently than everyone else. And you think I think differently? I know you do. The way you knew about my actions during the war. The way you watched everything, even when others think you are not paying attention. You see things that others miss. Princess Lyra was quiet for a moment. Then she activated a control on her chair, and a small holographic display appeared between them. Show me how you disabled our shield generators at Valdris. Marcus hesitated. Why do you want to know? Because I helped design them, she said. Simply, the emission hung in the air between them. Marcus stared at her, processing what she had just revealed. You helped design the shields. I designed many things. Weapons, defenses, ship systems. It is what I do while everyone thinks I am simply sitting in my room feeling sorry for myself. Princess Lyra manipulated the hologram, showing a detailed schematic of the Valdris fortress. I studied the reports of your attack. Your approach was creative. Marcus leaned forward, his interest clearly captured. You want to know how we beat your defenses? I want to know how you thought of something that none of our own strategists considered. She highlighted a section of the fortress on the display. The shield generators were protected by 3 layers of defense. Our best military minds said it was impossible to reach them. It was impossible, Marcus agreed, if we had tried to fight through all 3 layers. But we did not fight them. We went round them. Through the waste disposal system, Princess Lyra said. A path that our designers never considered, because it was too small, too dangerous, and too undignified for proper soldiers to use. Marcus grinned. Humans are not always concerned with dignity when survival is on the line. No, she agreed. You are not, and that is why you won. They spent the next hour discussing the battle. Princess Lyra asked detailed questions about human tactics and strategy. Marcus found himself impressed by her quick understanding and insightful comments. She did not just want to know what had happened. She wanted to understand how humans thought about problems. Your people approach warfare like a game, Marcus observed. Rules, honor, proper ways of doing things. Humans approach it like survival. We will do whatever it takes to win, and yet you treat a defeated enemy with kindness. Princess Lyra pointed out, that is not survival. That is something else. Marcus was about to respond when alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Red lights flashed in the corridors outside their cabin. Over the intercom, they heard Captain Rodriguez's voice. All hands to battle stations. We have multiple ships approaching. Unknown configuration. Marcus jumped to his feet, his soldier instincts taking over. Stay here, he told Princess Lyra. Lock the door behind me. Wait, she called as he reached for the door. Those ships, can you show me the sensor readings? This is not the time for curiosity. Princess, this is exactly the time, she said urgently. If these are who I think they are, your weapons will not be enough. You need to understand what you are facing. Marcus paused, his hand on the door. Control. Something in her voice made him listen. What do you know? Get me to your bridge, Princess Lyra said. I may be able to help. You are a prisoner. I cannot. I am a strategist, she interrupted. And if these are Corvin raiders, every person on this ship is about to die unless you listen to me. The ship shuddered as something hit the hull. Marcus made his decision. He released the door lock and moved behind Princess Lyra's chair. Hold on, he said, as they rushed through the corridors toward the bridge. Marcus realized that everything he thought he knew about his prize was wrong. Princess Lyra was not a helpless victim. She was something far more valuable and dangerous than he had imagined. The broken princess was about to save them all, and Marcus was beginning to understand that he had not chosen her at all. Somehow, she had chosen him. The bridge of the horizon was chaos. Officers shouted orders across the cramped space while screens flashed with warning signals. Captain Rodriguez stood at the center, his face grim as he watched the approaching enemy ships on the main display. 6 vessels, reported Lieutenant Kim from the sensor station. A known design. But they are heavily armed. They are not responding to our communications. Weapons hot. Captain Rodriguez ordered. Prepare for, Captain. Wait, Marcus called out as he pushed Princess Lyra's chair onto the bridge. The princess knows about these ships. Every eye turned to them. The bridge crew stared at the Zephyrian Royal in surprise. Captain Rodriguez frowned. Sergeant Chen, what is the meaning of this? She says they are Corvin raiders, Marcus explained. Quickly, she wants to help. Help? The captain's voice was sharp with disbelief. She is our prisoner. Princess Lyra activated her chair's communication system. Her voice filled the bridge. Calm and clear despite the alarms, Captain Rodriguez, I am Princess Lyra of the Zephyrian Empire. I know you have no reason to trust me, but I also know that, in approximately 4 minutes, those ships will destroy yours unless you listen to what I have to say. The captain looked at the tactical display, then back at her. You have 2 minutes, talk. The Corvin are not like us, Princess Lyra began. They do not follow the rules of war. They do not take prisoners. They attack ships traveling between systems, steal what they can, and destroy the rest. Your weapons are designed to fight Zephyrian forces in open battle. Against Corvin hit-and-run tactics, they will be useless. Then what do you suggest? Captain Rodriguez asked. Princess Lyra manipulated the controls on her chair, and a tactical display appeared above them. Their ships are fast but lightly armored. They rely on speed and surprise, but they have a weakness. Their power systems are not well protected. If you can get close enough to target their main generators, we cannot get close enough. Lieutenant Kim interrupted. They are too fast. Not if you make them come to you, Princess Lyra said. She highlighted a section of space on the display, the asteroid field. 2 kilometers to starboard. Hide your ship there. Make them think you are damaged and helpless. When they come close to board you, target their generators. Captain Rodriguez studied the display. That is a dangerous plan. If it fails, you die quickly instead of slowly, Princess Lyra said bluntly. The choice is yours, Captain. The ship shuddered again as the Corvin vessels moved closer. Captain Rodriguez made his decision. Do it. Take us into the asteroid field. All hands. Prepare for emergency maneuvers. As the horizon moved toward the asteroids, Marcus found himself standing next to Princess Lyra's chair. How do you know so much about the Corvin? He asked quietly. Because I have fought them before, she replied. Many times. But you are disabled? Princess Lyra's violet eyes met his. Is that what you were going to say? Marcus felt heat rise in his cheeks. I did not mean. It is what everyone thinks, she said, including my own people. They see my damaged limbs and assume I am helpless. They think I spend my days in my room, reading books and feeling sorry for myself. But you do not, Marcus said, understanding beginning to dawn on him. No, I do not. Princess Lyra's voice was soft but firm. I spend my days coordinating the defense of our outer colonies. I design new weapons and battle strategies. I study enemy movements and plan counterattacks. I am the one they call when the impossible needs to be done. Marcus stared at her. You are a military commander. I am the military commander, she corrected. The strategic mind behind most of our victories. The one who has kept the Corvin from overrunning our territory. For the past 5 years. The pieces suddenly clicked into place in Marcus's mind. You are not just Princess Lyra. You are someone else. I am known by another name in military circles, she admitted. The architect, the invisible strategist who plans battles from the shadows. Marcus felt his world shift. The architect was legendary among human forces. The mysterious Zephyrian genius who had designed their most difficult defenses. The one who had made the war last 3 years instead of 3 months. Every human soldier knew that name. You are the architect, he whispered. I am the architect, she confirmed. And you, Sergeant Marcus Chen, are the only human who has ever defeated one of my strategies. Before Marcus could respond, the ship lurched violently. They had entered the asteroid field. Around them, the crew worked frantically to make the ship appear damaged while hiding their true weapons. Corvin ships are approaching. Lieutenant Kim reported. They are slowing down. I think they believe we are helpless. Princess Lyra watched the tactical display with intense focus. Wait, she said. Let them get closer, closer. The enemy ships moved through the asteroids like predators stalking wounded prey. Marcus could see their sleek, dark holes on the main screen. They looked dangerous and alien, unlike anything he had seen before. Now, Princess Lyra said sharply, "Fire," Captain Rodriguez ordered. The Horizon's weapons blazed to life. Energy beams lanced out from hidden positions among the asteroids. 2 of the Corvin ships exploded immediately, their generators overloading exactly as Princess Lyra had predicted. The remaining 4 ships scattered, but they were already too close. The Horizon and its escort fighters picked them off one by one, using tactics that Princess Lyra called out with perfect timing. When the last enemy ship was destroyed, the bridge fell silent except for the hum of the engines. Captain Rodriguez turned to Princess Lyra with new respect in his eyes. "Thank you," he said simply. "You're welcome," she replied. "But now we have a larger problem." "What do you mean?" Princess Lyra's expression grew serious. "The Corvin do not attack randomly. They are scouts for something much worse, something that has been waiting for the right moment to strike." Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. "What are you talking about? The war between humans and Zephyrians was never the real war." Princess Lyra said, "It was a distraction while we fought each other. The true enemy has been preparing. The Corvin were just the beginning." She manipulated her display, showing a star map with dark areas spreading across multiple systems. "They are called the Devourers. They consume entire worlds, leaving nothing behind. The Zephyrian Empire has been holding them back for centuries. But now, with our forces scattered and our defenses broken, they are coming," Marcus finished. "They are already here," Princess Lyra said, "and without both our peoples working together, every living thing in this galaxy will die." The truth hit Marcus like a physical blow. The war they had just won was meaningless. The real battle was about to begin, and the disabled princess he had chosen as his prize was the only one who might be able to save them all. Looking at her now, Marcus realized he had never seen her true face until this moment. Princess Lyra was not his prize. She was his teacher, his ally, and possibly the most dangerous person in the galaxy. The question was, would anyone believe them in time? The human colony of New Geneva was not prepared for what arrived on the horizon. News of Princess Lyra's true identity spread through the command center like wildfire. Within hours, the small meeting room was packed with officers, scientists, and politicians, all wanting to see the legendary architect for themselves, Admiral Hayes. The colony's military commander sat across from Princess Lyra with deep suspicion in his eyes. "So you claim to be this architect person," he said. "The one who cost us thousands of lives during the war." "I am not claiming anything," Princess Lyra replied calmly. "I am stating a fact. And those strategies saved millions of Zephyrian lives, while teaching your forces to fight more effectively. You are better soldiers now because of that conflict." "Better soldiers for what?" Dr. Martinez, the colony's chief scientist, leaned forward. "You say something called the Devourers is coming. We need proof." Princess Lyra activated her mobile display unit. The room filled with holographic images of star systems, each one showing the same horrifying pattern. Green worlds turned gray. Space stations became twisted metal. Entire civilizations reduced to empty void. "The Kepler system," she said, highlighting one area. "Population, 4 billion. Status, consumed 18 months ago. The Tau Ceti colonies, 2 billion people, gone 6 months ago." The pattern is accelerating. Marcus stood behind her chair, watching the faces of the assembled humans. Some looked skeptical, others seemed frightened. All of them were struggling to understand the scope of what they were seeing. "Why should we believe you?" Colonel Peterson challenged. "How do we know this is not some Zephyrian trick?" "Because," Princess Lyra said, "my own people do not believe me either." She changed the display to show a recording from the Zephyrian High Command. Emperor Zephyr himself appeared, his massive form filling the hologram. His voice was tired and strained. The Council has rejected your proposal, daughter, he said. They say the human threat is too great. Our forces must focus on rebuilding our defenses, not chasing shadows in deep space. But father, Princess Lyra's voice came from the recording. The sensor readings clearly show. Enough, the Emperor interrupted. You have done well advising us during the war. But this obsession with ancient legends must stop. The Devourers. Our myth, the humans are real. The recording ended, leaving the room in silence. Princess Lyra looked around at the assembled humans. My own father thinks I am seeing threats that do not exist. My military advisors believe the Devourers are stories told to frighten children. Only I and a few others know the truth, Admiral. Hayes frowned. And what truth is that? That the Zephyrian Empire was never about conquest. Princess Lyra said, it was about protection. For over 1,000 years, we have been the guardians of this galaxy. We build our military not to attack others, but to keep the Devourers contained in the dark regions of space. She showed them star charts, spanning centuries, battle reports from the frontier, defensive installations that most humans had never heard of every few decades. They test our defenses, small probes, scout ships, advanced forces. We fight them back, and they retreat to gather strength. But now, Dr. Martinez asked, now they see opportunity, Princess Lyra said grimly. The Zephyrian Empire is shattered. Our defensive lines are broken, our fleets are scattered, and the humans, despite their victory, do not even know the threat exists. Marcus stepped forward. So what do you propose? Unity. Princess Lyra said simply, human adaptability combined with Zephyrian technology, your creative thinking merged with our strategic knowledge. It is the only way to survive what is coming. The room erupted in arguments. Some officers wanted to attack the remaining Zephyrian forces while they were weak. Others demanded proof that the Devourers were real. A few suggested that Princess Lyra was lying to save her own people. Admiral Hayes raised his hand. For silence. Even if what you say is true, he said. How do we convince the species that just finished trying to destroy each other to work together? You start with trust, Princess Lyra said. She looked directly at Marcus. One person at a time. One choice at a time. One act of faith at a time. Marcus understood. You want me to take you back to your people. I want you to help me show them the truth, she corrected. The Devourers are not coming in years or decades. They are coming now. Long-range sensors are picking up massive movement in the Outer Rim. We have weeks, maybe days, before they reach inhabited systems, and if we refuse, Colonel Peterson asked. Princess Lyra's expression grew dark. Then you will face them alone, and you will lose. The Devourers do not negotiate. They do not take prisoners. They consume everything in their path until nothing remains but empty space. Dr. Martinez pulled up his own sensor readings. We have been tracking some unusual energy signatures in the outer system, he admitted. Things that do not match any known technology. Devourer scouts, Princess Lyra said. They are already here, studying your defenses, learning your weaknesses. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Marcus looked around at his fellow humans, seeing fear and uncertainty in their faces. They had just won the greatest victory in human history, only to discover that they had stumbled into an even greater threat. What do you need from us? Admiral, Hayes asked finally. A ship, Princess Lyra said, a small crew, and permission to contact the Zephyrian fleet commanders who might still listen to reason. And if your own people refuse to help, then we make our stand here, she said, together. Human and Zephyrian, side by side, fighting for the survival of all life in the galaxy. Marcus felt something shift in the room. The skepticism was still there, but it was mixed with something else now. Recognition, understanding, the same feeling he had experienced when he first looked into Princess Lyra's eyes in the Great Hall. I will go with her, he said suddenly, to contact the Zephyrian commanders. Sergeant Chen. Admiral Hayes warned, this could be a trap. No, Marcus said, looking at Princess Lyra. It is not a trap. It is the only chance we have, Princess. Lyra nodded slowly. The sergeant understands. We are no longer enemies. We are not even allies. We are survivors, fighting for the future of everything we hold dear. As the meeting broke up and plans were made, Marcus found himself thinking about choices. 3 weeks ago, he had chosen a disabled princess as his prize. Now he was choosing to trust her with the fate of 2 civilizations. But looking at Princess Lyra, seeing the determination in her violet eyes, Marcus knew it was the right choice. She was not just the architect of Zephyrin's strategy, she was the architect of hope itself. The question was, would it be enough to save them all? The final battle began 3 days later, when the Devourers emerged from the dark space between stars. Marcus stood on the bridge of the combined fleet's command ship, watching the sensor displays with growing horror. The enemy vessels were massive beyond comprehension. Each one was the size of a small moon, their black surfaces seeming to absorb light itself. Dozens of them moved through space like living shadows, consuming everything in their path. Energy readings are off the charts, reported Lieutenant Kim, who had volunteered to serve on the joint crew. Whatever those things are made of, our sensors can barely detect them. Princess Lyra worked frantically at her mobile command center, coordinating the defense of 3-star systems simultaneously. Around her, human and Zephyrian officers worked side by side, their old hatred forgotten in the face of extinction. Status report, she called out. Human fleet is in position. Admiral Hayes responded from his flagship. All vessels ready for engagement. Zephyrian forces standing by. Came the voice of Commander Thane, one of the few Zephyrian officers who had believed Princess Lyra's warnings. We await your orders, Architect. The unified fleet was impressive by any normal standard. 50 human warships armed with the latest weapons technology. 30 Zephyrian vessels with their advanced shield systems and energy cannons. Support ships from both species carrying supplies and medical equipment against the Devourers. It looked pitifully small. They are beginning their attack pattern, Princess Lyra announced. Remember, do not engage the main vessels directly. Target the smaller scout ships first. We need to learn their weaknesses before we face the larger threat. The battle erupted across multiple fronts. Human fighters, small and fast, darted between the massive Devourer ships like insects around giants. Zephyrian cruisers provided covering fire with their precise energy weapons. The coordination was not perfect, but it was working. Marcus watched the tactical display as Princess Lyra orchestrated the complex dance of ships and weapons. Her strategic mind seemed to see patterns that no one else could detect. She moved units into position seconds before they were needed, anticipated enemy movements before they happened. How are you doing this? He asked during a brief calm in the fighting. I am not fighting their strengths, she replied, her violet eyes never leaving the displays. I am looking for their weakness. Everything has a weakness, Marcus, even things that seem perfect. And what is their weakness? I do not know yet, she admitted, but I will find it. The battle raged for hours. The combined fleet managed to destroy several of the smaller Devourer vessels, but for every one they killed, to more seemed to appear. Worse, the enemy was learning from each engagement, adapting their tactics to counter human and Zephyrian strategies. We are losing ships faster than we can replace them, Admiral Hayes reported. Casualties are mounting on all fronts. Princess Lyra studied the battle reports, her expression growing more troubled. They are too adaptable, she said. Every tactic we try, they counter within minutes. It is as if they can read our thoughts. Maybe they can, Marcus said suddenly. Princess Lyra looked at him sharply. What do you mean? Think about it, Marcus said. The idea forming in his mind. They consume entire civilizations. Maybe they do not just destroy technology and people. Maybe they absorb knowledge, tactics, experience. They are learning from everything they have consumed. Princess Lyra breathed. Every species they have destroyed, every military they have defeated. That knowledge becomes part of them, which means they know every conventional strategy that has ever been tried against them. Marcus continued, but they do not know strategies that have never been used before. Princess Lyra's eyes lit up with understanding. Strategies that could only come from cooperation between species that have never worked together before. She turned to her command console and began issuing rapid orders. All ships, New formation. Human vessels form attack groups with Zephyrian support. Zephyrian ships prepare to use human fighter tactics. We are going to try something the Devourers have never seen. What are you planning? Admiral Hayes asked. Chaos, Princess Lyra replied. Beautiful, unpredictable chaos. The new strategy was unlike anything in military history. Human fighters used Zephyrian energy shields to survive in impossible positions. Zephyrian cruisers adopted human hit-and-run tactics, striking fast and disappearing before the enemy could respond. Mixed crews shared information instantly, creating combinations that neither species could have achieved alone. The Devourers tried to adapt, but they could not. Their absorbed knowledge had no reference for this kind of cooperation. They had consumed countless species, but never two that worked together as equals. It is working, Commander Thane reported. With excitement in his voice, enemy response time is slowing. They cannot predict our movements. But Princess Lyra was not satisfied. We are hurting them, but we are not winning, she said. We need to find their core weakness, Marcus studied. The tactical display. Thinking about everything Princess Lyra had taught him about looking beyond the obvious. The Devourer ships moved in perfect coordination, like parts of a single organism. Their attacks were precise and calculated. Everything about them screamed perfection. There, he said suddenly, pointing to a pattern in the data. Look at how they coordinate. No chaos, no randomness, no mistakes. Yes, Princess Lyra said. They are perfectly organized. To perfect, Marcus said. Perfection is their weakness. They cannot handle true chaos because they have never experienced it. They have always consumed organized civilizations. Princess Lyra understood immediately. If we create enough disorder, enough unpredictability, their coordination will break down. Marcus finished. Princess Lyra began issuing new orders. This time not for strategy, but for the opposite. All ships, abandon formation. Fight independently. Use whatever tactics feel right to you. Do not coordinate. Do not follow patterns. Trust your instincts and create as much confusion as possible. It went against every principle of military strategy, but it worked. The combined fleet scattered like a storm, each ship fighting its own unique battle. Human creativity combined with Zephyrian precision in ways that had never been tried before. The Devourers, faced with true chaos for the first time in their existence, began to falter. Their perfect coordination broke down. Their ships collided with each other. Their weapons fired at empty space as they tried to predict movements that had no pattern. Now, Princess Lyra commanded, all ships, target the largest vessel. Everything we have. The entire fleet focused their fire on the command ship. Human weapons and Zephyrian energy cannons combined in a devastating assault. The massive Devourer vessel, designed to be invincible against organized attack, had no defense against the chaotic fury of two species fighting as one. When it exploded, the remaining Devourer ships seemed to lose their purpose. They drifted aimlessly for a moment, then retreated back into dark space. The battle was over. The galaxy was safe. In the aftermath, as rescue ships searched for survivors and medical teams treated the wounded, Marcus found Princess Lyra in the observation deck. She sat quietly in her chair, looking out at the stars. It is finished, she said as he approached. This battle is finished, Marcus agreed. But I think our real work is just beginning. Princess Lyra looked at him with a smile. The Academy? They had talked about it during the planning sessions, a place where humans and Zephyrians could train together, learn from each other, prepare for whatever threats the galaxy might face in the future. Someone needs to teach the next generation how to work together, Marcus said. Who better than the architect and the soldier who learned to trust each other? Princess Lyra nodded. I think I would like that. No more hiding in shadows. No more pretending to be something I am not. And no more thinking of you as a prize, Marcus added. Partners, partners, she agreed, as they watched the mixed fleet of human and Zephyrian ships working together to clean up the battlefield. Marcus reflected on the chain of choices that had brought them here. In the Great Hall, he had chosen what seemed like a disabled princess. In reality, he had chosen the future of the galaxy. The greatest victories, he had learned, came not from conquest but from understanding. not from taking prizes, but from building partnerships, not from fighting alone, but from standing together. Against the darkness, the war was over. The real peace was just beginning.